Today is a day for a white wedding. Because today we welcome back the legend that is Billy Idol. And we are also legends in our own right. Well, in the world of MPJ. Anyway, welcome, New Rock Album Review Shows. Welcome, I'm Nigel, this is Dom, this is Andy, this is Chris, and this is Paul. We are reviewing the latest rock albums, which, as you would have guessed, is the great and the legendary Billy Idol and his new album, Dream Into It. Now, Billy is a returning artist for us. We reviewed his EP in our early days, which was The Roadside, and I think to a person, we were all very, very surprised by how good it was, because a lot of these old aging rockers just don't really kind of maybe cut the mustard. Is Billy still cutting the mustard? I'm going to start with Paul, because really, mate, me and you, we absolutely adored Billy Idol back in the 80s. What did you think of Dream Into It? Was it a dream, Paul? Was it any good, or is it just over the goddamn hill and he should just sit back and retire?
He's got his thinking face on. You can tell already.
Yes,
He's like money up what he wants to say.
Yes, I am. Definitely. Look, at 70 years of age, Billy has seen it all in the rock world and has ripped it up and has definitely lived on the wild side. He's a UK lad who broke into America where so many failed and still do. In Dream Into It, he is in a nostalgic mood as he reflects on the good, the bad and the ugly sides of his life. After his EP in the last couple of years, which spent a good proportion on revisiting the motorcycle accident that almost cost him his leg and his life, and seeing a number of the older generation collabing on this album, I feared the worst. However, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Levine and Alison Mosshart of the Kills do not prop up Billy to make it convincing tracks. Although Avril Lavigne singing about Teddy Boy rockers just seems out of context in time and dimension, and every time I listen to it, my head is shaking in denial every time. While this might not be the album of the year, it will be definitely one of my most played.
Why?
Well, we haven't finished our monthly show yet.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Andy, Billy Idol for you. I mean, your generation, I would assume, maybe, or just after.
A little bit before, I think you're fine. The 80s. I'm only in my 40s. I think you're fine.
Well, just that great beard, mate.
Yeah, it's always quite. That does distinguish me. It does. It is true. Right. It is always interesting when you do get older statesmen of rock producing an album after they haven't done anything for a while. Obviously, done his EP, but album-wise, not so for a while, because it can go one of two ways, really. It can either be just he's got nothing else to say and it's just trying to do nothing, and it's just like actually pretty poor. Or it could be something which is actually quite interesting and a different viewpoint. And yes, he does have something to say. I think in this one he does have something to say, and he does want to tell us about, it is very much looking back, but he does want to tell us about like his history, his mistakes, his fame, and that everything which goes on to there. I think the duets which he does do work. I agree with Paul on the Avril Lavigne one, but it's still a good song. I still enjoyed it. It was a pleasant listen. I didn't mind listening to it. It wasn't great, but it was interesting. I said it's worth the listen, without a doubt. It wasn't too bad at all.
So what you're saying is, not great, worth a listen. So, were you trying to introduce Dom? Dom, what do you think?
Dom's great. He's all over listen.
Yeah.
Great. I just love your burn on Dicker. That was so cool.
I'll take it.
It is my generation, though. So I remember Billy Idol really well, of course. Yeah, loved him back in the day, and I loved all that attitude and that swagger. Yeah, he's 70 now, isn't he? And I love, in a way, that guys like Billy Idol have got the ability and the talent to a degree to be able to pull it off and to kind of produce, something like that. I wonder if it's a little bit self-indulgent, actually, and there's always that danger when you're heading, the wrong way of 70, perhaps, as a rocker, where is this about you? Is it? And the album had that sense of grass. It's very nostalgic, isn't it? It's singing songs about the past a lot, and about how great it used to be for him. His punk legend, lots of dance floor energy. That was always Billy Idol's style, wasn't it? It was kind of, it was music that was also music that you could dance to and enjoy, and it still follows through. I thought, I thought that his guest vocalists, sometimes they're doing some of the heavy lifting for him, not Avril. That was a bit mysterious. I'm not sure about his voice these days. I don't think his voice was ever his strongest point, really. That was a punk aesthetic, wasn't it? It wasn't about great vocals. It was about your energy. And he's still got that. But to me, it still just sounds a bit like radio rock. Very British radio rock, which I liked, but it's still kind of, mid interest radio rock for me.
Well, he hasn't given his vote yet, Paul. Okay, Chris.
So, Billy Idol is a name that, of course, I've known. It has a reputation. I'm not going to say whether it's a good or a bad reputation. I'll let you make that decision for yourself. But, of course, it's a reputation that I've known about. It's odd that I always had quite an eclectic musical upbringing between my mum and my dad, like in rock and roll, blues, Kinks, Setters, all that sort of stuff, and then Tina Turner and everything else like that. Billy Idol was never really one of those, and so there's some of his classics I know, most of his work I don't. But yeah, I think, as has been said, I think this entire album is his reflection on his reputation, his career, and all that sort of stuff. And when you look at it that way, I think it's very much a case of he's taken some of the energy that he used to have, and as Dom said, he's still got some of the energy, even if his voice isn't as where it used to be. But yeah, so I think it works really well. The first 4 or 5 tracks, which covers all the collaborations he did, I think they work really well as a group. I kind of agree. The lyrics on the Avril Lavigne song don't really make sense because she wasn't there at the time, but it feels like he's put the songs together for the artist that he's working with as much as for himself. So certainly when you get into I think it's Wild Side with Joan Jett, where they're just sort of both reflecting on their respective histories, it works really nicely. And yeah, it was just quite an enjoyable album. And one of the things that I do want to say, if you do decide to listen to it, have a listen to the last song, Still Dancing, then go listen to Rebel Yell, because there is quite a lot of crossover there. It's almost sort of 43-year call and response between Rebel Yell as he was and Still Dancing now as he is. And those two as a pair, you might notice I did this, those two as a pair work really well, just as 2 songs back to back. If you don't listen to much Billy Idol, stick those 2 together in your playlists and go nuts. I think it works really well. So I enjoyed it. You might be able to tell.
I love the phrase call and response. That's a great phrase, isn't it? Absolutely terrific. Phrase of the month. Trish, it's really interesting actually, because I just go in terms of, like, you talked about lyrics and nostalgia and that you shouldn't go there, and yet Trish wrote that this was a raw and honest album, and when you listen to the lyrics, especially with People I Love and Give Me the Weight, seeing Billy open up and facing his demons and feelings. And so for some people, those sort of lyrics kind of resonate really, because you've got to write music from within, for the audience to kind of tap into, and I think he does it really, really well. I think for me, my expectations were quite low, because when you get to 70, I'm thinking, and Dom's right, his voice was actually quite good, but it was always based on the energy of that kind of youth with Rebel Yell and White Wedding and all that sort of stuff. And I do get very nostalgic about Billy, because, back then I had my Walkman. Now, Walkman was like, oh my God. I mean, it was just one of the greatest inventions of the time, really. And I remember, and I had to walk about a couple of miles from where I was living on a houseboat to work. And I remember it was a winter time and the weather wasn't great, but my Walkman and my thick coat kind of kept me going. And Billy, because you didn't have a massive range of tapes, so Billy was kind of on, and that album was on repeat quite a lot. So I get very nostalgic about those times, and I think I had that album pretty much on repeat for a couple of months, I think. So it kind of brings me back. So my expectations were quite low, but even though I enjoyed the roadside stuff, and it did exceed my expectations. I think that it had a lovely mix of retro, of energy, of upbeat as well. I had a lovely kind of mix. What let down was that absolutely pants Avril Lavigne stuff. It was absolutely dreadful. I didn't like it at all. I agree with everybody. Which basically means that I would probably skip it, which basically means it was not the perfect album, but really solid, and it was lovely to hear the fact that he could have crashed and burned and died of a drug overdose and alcohol poisoning and stuff, but you know what? Kudos to the guy for surviving it and getting through and coming back and actually producing what is very good music and a very good album. So well done to Billy. Good album. Is it enough now? Roadside did not get into Hall of Fame. Will dream into it. Will dream into it. Dream into our Hall of Fame. Let's find out. I'm going to start in a positive fashion. We're going to start with Trish, who obviously loved the album, and no shock of shocks, it was a 5 from Trish on that score. Paul.
I give it a very good 4.5.
Oof.
And I must admit, I hadn't mentioned, I loved the John Wayne song.
Oh, I think it was that. Yeah, that was a highlight. Yeah,
which kind of summed up Billy really. That
it was a good track. It was a good track. Andy.
Well, I wish I'd given it a 4, because I could have gone with a rebel yell. I went 4. I didn't. I gave it a 3.5. So.
Oh, Auntie. Oh, I wish I'd thought of that. But with a rebel yell, I give it 4. I got it. Everybody else did. I stole it. I go 4. Dom.
You're going to hate me. 3, I'm afraid.
I don't hate you, Dom, but it'll all come up in court. Don't worry about it. It'll be all fine. Cully.
I gave it a 4 as well.
Oh, come on,
without a rebel yell.
Do the rebel yell.
No, it's been done now.
Dom, goodbye to your dismal 3. Goodbye.
Fair enough.
Whatever. I am delighted to say that Billy Idol scored 4.2 and is into our Hall of Fame. Hey, maybe somebody might put it as a wild card. Paul, you said about end of the review. What you said come back to you, so I'm doing that. What?
No, I didn't.
Oh, did you? All right.
No.
You save it for later.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm
save
saving it for the end of our monthly review.
Okay. So Do you know what? It's our 14th favourite albums. We've reviewed 63 albums this year so far, and it's our number 14. So it doesn't get an automatic slot into our album of the year. 61st overall into our Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Billy. Keep on rocking, my friend. Keep on rocking. Look forward to the next album. Just don't do it with Avril Lavigne. No, she's great. I just didn't really like that song. Right. Okay. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you like what you hear. Let us know what you think. Do you agree? Disagree? And thank you very much to my panel today, to Dom, to Andy, to Paul, and to Chris, and of course to the absent Trish in the fjords. And keep on rocking.